Today we welcome to the show Siobhan Lam. Siobhan is the founder and creative director of homeware store April and the Bear. Based in Dublin, it is known for its eclectic styling and beautiful homewares pieces. Siobhan has also recently featured as the new judge on RTE's Home of the Year for its 11th series, taking things full circle from when she appeared on the show back in, was it Siobhan 2015? As
It
a
was 10 years
contestant.
ago.
So taking you really full circle, and that's a really interesting journey. So much to talk to you about, Siobhan, today. Welcome.
Thank you. So delighted to be here.
Thank you. So first of all, let's talk a little bit about April and the Bear. Siobhan, I'm so intrigued to know about your journey into interiors retail and how that took shape for you.
Well, I was working in retail. I had studied fashion buying and I was working in Arnott's in the buying department for ladies. So I was in retail in a big way. And I had worked in smaller boutiques kind of growing up and, to earn the extra cash. And my now husband, then partner, we decided to buy our first home. And after much looking, we found a definite fixer-upper, which was not what we were going for. And it kind of buying this home kicked off our journey into renovation DIY. But for me as well, it really kicked off my journey into interiors.
That's really fascinating. And tell me, it began life as an online store, moving into bricks and mortar retail. And
So when we started renovating the house ourselves, we started writing a blog. And at the same time, we opened aprilandthebear.com. And the simple reason that it was an e-commerce website was I didn't have budget. I didn't have enough money to open a physical retail store. This was a much, easier, quicker, cheaper way to open a space that people could shop from.
and then the move to, like, when was it that the bricks and mortar store kind of opened? And
So we stayed online for a long time, I would say 3 years. And throughout that time we did a lot of pop-up stores. So we would pop up in the city, we, use multiple spaces. And basically every time we did a pop-up store, everybody was like, when are you opening a physical store? So we opened our first permanent store about 3 years later in Temple Bar.
I'm really intrigued as well, Siobhan, to know a little bit about the name. Where did the idea for the store name come from?
You know what? I asked a friend of mine, she's a writer, and I was like, I was having a really hard time with what do we call the store? And I said, like, what am I going to do? Like, what do I call it? And she said, what do you love? And I said, and this is going to sound very sentimental, I love, my husband. He's this tall, hairy, handsome devil that I call Bear. So that's the bear part. And then April, I just love the name. Probably some of, April O'Neil from the Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. I thought she was such a cool chick. I'm born in April. So I just mushed.
And in terms, Siobhan, I'm always really intrigued to know, for anyone that, curates their own ranges, shops around the world, builds something, for anyone outside the trade, like, how do you go about building those ranges? How do you select what you want for the store? A little bit about that process.
Now 10 years, 11 years in, we've kind of got it down to a T. Like we have our really, brilliant brands that we shop from every season. We get excited about their launches. We also have a really great mix of Irish artists and designers as well. So I think we've kind of nailed it in terms of our mix. But from like a buying perspective, like how that process really happens is, you go out every season. Generally, you go to a trade show like Maison in Paris. You fly over, you go to these incredible, humongous halls, and you walk like 50,000 steps as you pound around to meet new brands, to pick up new products, to see what trends are out that season. And then basically from that, you buy for the season. I will say though, since COVID, a lot of online platforms have popped up for, retailers, B2B, which means that now we can kind of shop online quite happily. Obviously, we don't do it for everything, but I do think that there's a hybrid approach to buying now.
And can I ask you, Siobhan? I mean, I was on the website last night and looking through things. I'm trying not to shop, but not necessarily being successful with that. What are your
Follow
favourite
your heart.
pieces? What are your favourite pieces from the edit this season?
Ooh, good question. I think with the sun shining through the window, I'm now obsessed with my garden and getting like the perfect outdoor furniture. There's a really beautiful range called the Dapple Outdoor Table and Chairs from Firm Living. Firm Living is this utterly gorgeous brand. It's incredibly chic, it's very elegant, and it will actually last, which is obviously what we need in the Irish weather. So I'm a little bit obsessed with that. And then there is this gorgeous blush, very minimal cupboard from HK Living, which is utterly divine, and I am obsessed with it. I just don't know where to put it in my overpacked house, but yeah.
We've talked a lot about your shop, but for anyone watching this and how they translate that kind of eclectic styling into their own home, what are your sort of top tips for that?
For me, my kind of mantra is design for you. Forget everyone else. Embrace what you love and just trust your gut. That's it. It's as simple as that. Because if you do those things, you will be designing a home for you. You know, you're going to be designing a space that you love simply because you'll be surrounded by things that you adore.
Tell us a little bit about your own renovation story.
So we bought a fixer upper. Basically, it was a home with three separate bed sits in it. It
Hmm.
was, you know, originally a beautiful period home, but the landlord had broken it down. And our journey was to take it from that back into a family home. There was pitch pine everywhere. He had covered over the most beautiful fireplaces, like with boards and plaster. He had done the most heinous things to this gorgeous home. So our job was basically to pull it all back, to kind of reveal what the house looked like before the original. And we revealed like beautiful brick walls, gorgeous fireplaces. But it was a journey of dust and
Mm-hmm.
passion, and it just meant that we created a home that we knew intimately. Like we know every single, you know, corner and crevice in our home, and we love it. Now, obviously I want to improve it constantly, so I don't know even I'd say we're like three-quarters of the way on the renovation journey, but it's certainly a lot better than it used to be.
I'm guessing in part inspired by old, but also bringing your own sort of sense of newness to it too.
Absolutely, yeah. You're always inspired by the actual building for sure. Like when we revealed those fireplaces, obviously what we did was, you know, kept them, restored them. We wanted an open plan living area. We decided to take out loads of doors. And then later on our journey, we were like, we actually need a door. That brought us to this incredibly salvage door. So, you know, the building does impact the design as well, for sure. Yeah.
And you talked a little bit about renovating with your husband. You live there with your family. It's a family home ultimately. Should you compromise on style living in a family home?
Probably not going to say what you want. I think before kids, I would have been like, absolutely, you do you, girl. Forget those kids. They can have two toys and that's it. And my house will be amazing and whatever. The reality of having children is very different to that. And, you know, mine are young. So I'm still in the mountains of plastic toys era of my life. But if I was sitting down with, you know, clients and talking
Yeah.
exactly about what you're saying about style, do I have to compromise on style when I have children? Unfortunately, I think you do. There are certain things that you have to take into consideration, especially when you have kids, things like acoustics, things like security, things like privacy. All of these things
Yeah.
have to be addressed and you have to design around them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think there is a little bit of a compromise.
I think there's maybe a few people listening out there that are thinking, I'm so relieved she said that.
I'm sorry.
A little bit of honesty there.
I
So,
mean, I do think that, you know, when you have kids, it does depend where you are in
mhm.
terms of that journey. My children are very young, so that is where I am. But when they're older, absolutely, you can change up, you know, the style of your home and your kids won't fight you as much.
So, Siobhan, now on to RTE Home of the Year. So, you've joined for the 11th series. I mentioned that you've come full circle from competing on the show yourself way back on its very first series, full circle turn there. How did you appearing as a contestant, how do you think that influenced your judging style going into the show this year?
So I think initially it made me a little bit tentative about expressing any opinions that weren't, you know, positive, but ultimately I'm a judge. So I have to be honest. So I think perhaps my first day I was a bit like, oh, that's so harsh. Let's be a little bit nicer. But you have to be honest because the viewers will see if you aren't being honest. So it was short lived, but I think I was just like, ooh, this is so mean. Let's be nice to the gorgeous homeowners. I think that's it, to be totally honest with you. And I definitely appreciated how much work goes into kind of prepping your home for home of the year. You know, like a lot of these homeowners, I mean, obviously all of their homes are beautiful, but they're so clean, they're so organized, and that takes a lot of work. So there's a lot of prep that goes into it, which I really appreciate.
I was going to ask that actually. For anybody out there who's renovating a property at the moment, thinking, I've watched the series this year, they're thinking, I'd quite like to do that. This is something I'm interested in doing. What would your advice be to somebody thinking about coming on the show?
My advice would be absolutely go for it. Why not? Like, it's such a fun show. Ultimately, what we're doing is we're celebrating Irish homeowners and their creativity. And I have to be honest, like, this is season 11 and the quality is insane. I genuinely feel like every single year the homes are getting better and better. And it just goes to show that Irish people are incredibly stylish. We really care about our homes. And I think it's just a great opportunity to kind of show people what you've done.
Yeah.
And like, if you're proud of your home, I honestly don't see why you wouldn't give it a whirl.
And what was it like for you, Siobhan? I mean, joining two really established judges like Amanda Bone and Hugh Wallace, how did that feel to be the new girl on the block there?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking, totally. But literally from day one, they have been so lovely, like so welcoming. I felt like part of the team from the get-go. And, you know, Hugh and Amanda are such professionals. They were, you know, giving me all the tips, you know, mind this, don't do this. Which was incredibly helpful, obviously. So it was nerve-wracking at first, but it was fantastic. It's a really fun, light family show.
So let's talk a bit about the interior consultancy side of your business, Siobhan, and how that works, the team that you work with, what can people expect from that?
So our interior design studio is run by our senior interior designer, Emma Delaney. Emma is absolutely incredible. She has incredible work ethic, a fantastic eye, and basically she's been with us for 4 years now. She's running the show in terms of the interior design. And in terms of how it came about, it was really interesting. Like, honestly, it just kind of became a thing that we started to do on the side, but people just kept asking and referring their friends, their family, that it became obvious that we needed an interior designer to come on board. And that's when we brought Emma on. And yeah, it's growing every year, which is fantastic. And it's really lovely to see, you know, our customers and our clients and their journeys over the years.
And I noticed on your page, you also offer like a design chit chat service, which I love the idea of it, the casualness of it. There's so many people out there that maybe they don't have the budget. They think they maybe don't have the time to work on a full scale project, but they just want the advice of somebody's opinion that they trust in. So
I do think there's a kind of conception that interior design can be a little bit scary almost. Like, there's kind of a bit of a mystery to it. And I think that just by being open and honest and saying, look, you know, you don't have to go fully in. Like, if you know what you want, or you think that you know, or you just want an opinion, that's what design chit chat is. It's like, you know, no strings attached. Literally come at us with your questions and we will sort them for you.
you have recently helped a home in Stony Batter. You've been, working on a full-scale project there, renovating. It looks like quite an old period building. So I've seen some amazing, amazing imagery of the cottage in its finished state. Tell us a little bit about the inspiration behind the color palette and the colors that were used.
Yeah. So it was really important for the clients that natural light come through to the home. So, you know, certain parts of the home were light and airy, but um, they really wanted it to have a bold color palette and almost a moodiness to that color palette to kind of create different spaces and differentiate the home, because a lot of the home was open plan. So that was really important to the client. And we were super up for it.
Yeah, there's some lovely, like dusty, like warm, dusty pinks that I noticed. And, I love those kind of cozy tones.
And lots of lovely natural timber as well, which really brings some warmth into the home. Like the palette was, it was dark, it was moody, but there was also like really punchy moments, like those monochromatic ceramic tiles in the hallway. They make a real statement as soon as you walk into the home. But we decided to bring kind of softness into the home with the fabrications that we chose for the furniture. So there's a beautiful velvet retro sofa which added a softness. Like we added texture with the rugs, with the throws, with the HK Living cushions. So, we had a very definite palette in mind, and we brought softness with the fabrications.
And some of I'm right in saying, aren't I, the paneling, that was all designed bespoke for the cottage.
Absolutely. Yeah. All of the timber paneling, all of the doors, there was bespoke furniture as well, all designed by Emma. Absolutely incredible.
And do you have a favorite space yourself in the finished, like when you're working on a project and you step away from it at the very end? I know we all love all of it, but have you got a favorite spot within the home now?
Emma designed this secret door into the main bedroom. So it's basically off the living room, but you don't realize it's a door at all. It just looks like, cabinetry. So it's a secret door into the bedroom. She moved the door open, meaning that the homeowners had more space more storage in their main bedroom, which was, great. But it's just so gorgeous, and it's so simple, but it adds a little bit of whimsy and a little bit of novelty to the space. And it's a little surprise. I think with our homes, we should have fun with them. We should play. And it's a really playful element that I absolutely love.
It's so lovely to take something as, functional as we need more storage space. We need more, more places to put things, and to take that and then go, actually, we've got a secret door out of that. Who doesn't have a secret door?
I know, no one that I know.
Yeah.
And actually, when you look at it, it's so beautiful because it sits to the right of the fireplace, and then to the left of the fireplace is a door exactly the same. So she's mirrored the door, but it's a little mini bar, little mini home bar.
Lovely.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
I didn't ask this earlier when we were talking about the store, but I guess to have the store and the design consultancy business running alongside each other, those things must run in tandem. It must be great to kind of go, right, okay, we've done the gutsy renovation work, let's dress the space, let's get some artwork in. That must be a lovely thing.
100%. Yeah. It's so, let's be honest, it's so fun. Dressing a space is incredible, and it's really important, I have to say. It's like, when you're dressing yourself in the day, and it's just putting on those last few accessories to complete the outfit. So it's such a fun process. And what we tend to do with all of our interior design clients is that we create a mood board when we first meet them, just to get a sense of them, a sense of their style, what they like, what they don't like, and to see what they see for their home.
Finally, we've had quite a wide-ranging conversation here today. Lots of interesting stuff to talk to you about. If you had advice to 21-year-old you, Siobhan, not knowing the pathway and into interiors that you're going to take, what would your advice to 21-year-old you have been?
It would be, failure isn't the end of the world.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, Siobhan. It's been so nice to talk to you today. Thank you for telling us all about your journey. There's a million more questions we could have asked you, but thank you.
We'll do another one.